Come on, Annie. Let's go to the movies.
This is the Cinereelists, episode 521. My name is Kyle.
My name is James.
And my name is Zach.
And we're here to talk about movies, movie lists, and movie obsession for the next hour or so. And we're here to celebrate Pi Day. Happy Pi Day.
Are we?
Oh yeah, it's Pi Day today.
And in honor of Pi Day, this episode will be 3 hours and 14 minutes on the dot.
And 15.9 seconds.
Yeah, it can't be on the dot. Then it'd be a rational number.
All right. All right. What's going on, fellas?
Let's try not to round things, James.
That's what
Everyone
I do.
knows pi is 3.1, and you can just use that.
What's
thank
going
you.
on, guys? I heard Zach has a check-in.
Oh, wow.
do.
We're just gonna jump right into that.
I do have a check-in, but someone sent me today a Pi Day chart of what are the most popular pies in every state. And so, since Kyle's talking about pies,
Is it
You
a...
That's not what this
take
day
a-
is for. It's
take
not
a
for
guess.
literal pies.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
I think
It's for the number.
no, it's because of the number, but then people make pies in honor of the number.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
we had pies at work today. Megan made 8,000 pies yesterday for her work. Not by herself, but her team did.
I'm a
So-
Pi Day purist. I do not accept tangible gestures of the word pie. I only accept celebration of the number.
You're just upset that no one made you pie today.
That's not why I'm
He's-
upset.
He sounds pie upset.
Did
James,
you-
what do you think is the pie that is Googled more in Florida than in other places?
Key lime, probably.
It is key lime pie.
We're very
Kyle?
predictable around here.
What do you think the pie that is Googled more in Wisconsin is?
Oh, man. Let's say pumpkin.
No, that's very West Coast.
Really? Pumpkin
Yeah.
is West Coast?
California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico. Those are all pumpkin.
Wait,
Apple.
they can't.
Pumpkin
They
town.
can't all be pumpkin. Only one state can be pumpkin.
No, these are
It's the most Googled pie in each state. Not like each
Yeah.
state gets a claim on a single pie.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I don't know, let's go apple then.
no, that's so Nebraska of you. No, it's cherry.
Oh, that makes sense. We got Door County cherries up here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this was fun.
Also, Warrant, famous band from Kyle's area of the world.
Well, it can't be that famous.
Is Warrant from Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Really?
No, I have no clue.
Okay.
I just made that up.
I assume they're from LA.
No. They probably are from LA.
Yeah.
Most
For-
hair bands were. So
For those of you who were not listening to hair metal in the 80s, Warrant is famous for the song Cherry Pie, which they
Oh, okay.
instantly regretted writing because then that became the only song they were known for.
yeah.
Sure.
I'm sure
I've
they don't
heard that
regret it
song.
these days. I mean, they tour on that one song still.
Yeah, that's
to this day.
they're still around.
Yeah.
My friend went to a Bob Dylan concert
Mhm.
very recently, and he didn't play a single song that anyone recognized. I've heard he's just old and crabby in concert.
I believe it.
I mean, he can do whatever he wants at this point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
I do
Speaking
have a
of music.
check-in. Kyle mentioned it. I wanted to update you guys on my Music 101 experiment.
Yeah.
So, like
Okay.
you guys know, I've restarted Music 101 where I'm going through the 101 greatest albums of all time, according to like a bunch of, industry experts like Pitchfork and Rolling Stone and all that. We made a master list of the greatest albums according to all these different sources. And this week's one was by a band I'd never heard of ever, which is rare, I think, to never even heard of the band, although I hadn't heard of Warrant. But I recognize several of their songs, so that was exciting. It's Love. Have you guys ever listened to any Love?
No.
that's not a band that I would think of very often.
So they have an album called Forever Changes.
Okay.
From 1967.
Hmm.
And I really like this album. It's awesome. You would recognize songs from it for sure. You Set the Scene is in lots of movies.
Okay.
And I especially like a song called "A House Is Not a Motel." That song is a jam.
Hmm.
So, anyways, so I'm learning a lot about Love. They're like early psychedelic music, kind of.
I have
Um,
seen this album cover, but
Okay.
I do not recognize this. I do not recognize the songs by the names of the songs.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, guaranteed you have heard of some of these because I recognize them. And it's kind of cool that I found a band you guys are not super familiar with, but I do recommend listening to this album because I thought it was pretty fun. It's like a little folk, but like
Mm-hmm.
creeping into psychedelic.
Okay. Yeah,
It's good.
I'll jump in a little bit.
Nice.
This Forever
into it.
Changes.
Forever Changes, yeah.
Okay.
And the title comes from a breakup. Someone says an actual breakup of one of the members of the band. They said, "I thought you said we'd be together forever," and he's like, "Yeah, well, forever changes." He liked that, and so they made an album called that.
That sounds like a Beatleism. Something Ringo Starr would make up.
Right.
For sure. Definitely.
So that's my check-in.
Awesome. I don't really have one other than I'm up in Georgia and it snowed up here, which was awesome. It's probably the last snow of the year. And it doesn't normally snow up here. So it was fun to have snow at the somewhat midpoint of March. Doesn't happen very often.
Nice. Did you do any snow-related activities?
No, it wasn't. I mean, the snow lasted a full day, but it was like, light topping, I would say. It's like, no.
Okay.
If you picked up snow to try to make a
snow.
snowball, it'd probably melt in your hands. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
James, have you ever lived in a climate with snow?
You mean like my house regularly got snowed on?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Well, I take
what
that
a way
back.
to define.
I take that back.
How often does your house get snowed on? You go first.
Well, here's the thing. When I lived in
Historically.
Illinois, we moved away when I was less than 1. So technically, yes, I've lived in a place where it snowed, but
you don't
I
remember
don't
that
remember
snow. No,
obviously.
okay.
Then I lived in California, and where I lived in California, it never snowed, but literally an hour up the mountain, and you were at a place where it snowed. Was it where I lived? No, but I lived in California, and it snows in California.
Would you travel up that mountain to the snow regularly?
A
Or
couple
even
times a
somewhat frequently?
season, a ski season, a couple times a ski season.
Okay, yeah, so you go skiing then. Okay, so
Yeah.
you've done winter activities.
Yes, I haven't done them in 20 plus years, but back when I lived in California, I did. In fact, I miss it. The problem is, if you want to go skiing and you live in Florida, it is an effort. That's for sure. It is not something you just do, for a Saturday.
You can't drive 45 minutes out of town and go on the
Right.
hill for a couple hours.
Yep. Yeah. When people wonder why it's so expensive to live in California, it's because you can be at the beach and then within an hour drive be skiing. Like, there's not too many places in the United States where that's the case. So,
I mean, I can be at the beach and skiing. It's a very cold, frozen beach, but
right. Yeah.
I'm there.
Not quite the same as a California beach, I would imagine. Well, welcome to the show, guys. 521. We're going to talk a bunch of Oscar-nominated movies this week. 3 in particular. Before we do that, we're going to jump into housekeeping for this week. There's a video version of this podcast on YouTube. Search Cinereelists. Find it there. Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Cinereelists. Support the podcast. Get extra after show audio as well as other Cinereelist swag. You could leave us an Apple Podcast review on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate all reviews we can get there. And also send us a listener email to heyguys@cinereelist.com. REEL with an S on the end. Send a comment, a question, a list suggestion, a movie suggestion, pretty much anything you want to send us. You can do that via email. We got a couple of emails here recently that we're going to read right now, starting with Kyle. What do you got for us?
So this is from friend of the show, longtime listener, Josh. And the subject line of this email is, "Sorry, this is long."
All right.
So he's
Strap it in.
apologizing in advance. All right. Kyle, Zach, and James. This is a little late, but I wanted to say a big thank you for another year of great episodes. You're welcome, Josh. Last year, he started going through the AFI Top 100, and now it's only 20 to go. Zach, he really wants to know why you gave On the Waterfront only 2 stars.
Let's hear it. Why did you just slam that classic?
That
That's
classic.
stone cold classic, right? Well, I was trying to think of when I saw On the Waterfront, and it has to be like 15, 20 years ago. It was probably one of the first, like, classics.
Like list movies,
that I sat down and watched. And I probably didn't know how to approach films like that. Really, I don't remember too much about the movie except, I think that the like priest was a pacifist. I think he talked about that a few times. And the Stella part.
No. That's
That's not On the Waterfront?
That's not On the Waterfront. That's
Streetcar Named Desire?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Both Marlon Brando, so I'll give you that.
Okay, so maybe I'm thinking of that.
Do you know
so I don't know. I'll give it a rewatch if it's better than 2 stars. Josh, what is it? Is it a 4-star? Is it a 5-star? What are we looking at here?
So you're saying for you this movie was not a contender?
It could have had class. It could have been somebody, but yeah, it wasn't a contender.
I'm glad you. At least I know you watched the movie now. You got that reference. At least we were talking about the same movie.
Yeah.
What would it have to be? Like, would Josh have to say, "Oh, that's a 5-star movie"? Then you'll rewatch it. What if he's like, "It's at least a 2.5"? Does that mean you're going to rewatch it?
If he says it's a 2.5 and he's mad that I gave it 2 stars,
I
will absolutely rewatch it and reevaluate.
See if it's a 1/2-star better.
I really got to hone in on that. Yeah.
See if you go from not liking it to neutral.
I've been using it as my platonic form of what a 2-star movie is.
Sure.
For 20 years, so I gotta readjust. Apparently,
2 stars. Such an On the Waterfront. Well, good. I'm glad we were able to clear the air on that one. He's also happy that you watched The Castle, which is a Australian film, right?
Yeah.
He's also got a couple of recommendations for us. The first one was Nitram. He said, starring Caleb Landry Jones, tells a dark true story from recent Australian history. It's very, very good, but not too many people have seen it as of yet. And he actually recommended it to me. This is my first listener request recommendation.
Oh, specifically to you?
He specifically said Kyle.
Wow. Are you going to watch it?
I mean, I have to. That's the rule, right?
Yeah. That is the rule.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool.
He also has another recommendation for you, Zach. It's called Sunset Limited. And here's why he thinks you'll like it. It's mostly one location. It's based on a stage play. It's philosophical, well-written dialogue, 2 faultless actors, and a Christian positive message that isn't light or cringy.
Yeah. Now, have either of you heard of this movie, The Sunset Limited?
I have not, no.
No.
It's Samuel L. Jackson and Tommy Lee Jones, and only those two in a room, and it's directed by Tommy Lee Jones, and it's written by Cormac McCarthy.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I have since watched this, since getting this email, I've watched the recommendation. He did know how to sell it to me. I was like, okay, I'll check that. That sounds fine. I'm good. I'll check it out. Should I talk about it now or in the last 10 top 10?
I think you should save it.
Save it? Okay.
Yeah.
Josh, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait to find out what I thought of it.
Because I'll watch Nitram, and then we can have a little discussion, and James, you can just be left out.
Perfect.
Does any of that appeal to you guys? Samuel Jackson, Tommy Lee Jones, alone in a room, chatting with each other philosophically.
Was it scripted, or are they just like winging
Scripted.
it? Okay.
It's based on a play.
But it's scripted by Tommy. Oh, okay. It's based on a play, but directed by Tommy Lee Jones. I'll take a wait and see approach based on what you say. I'm not sure I'm willing to just jump into that blindly, but
how long is it?
Yeah, right.
Hour and a half.
Okay, if it's 90 minutes, I could probably do that. If it's like 2.5 hours, I don't know if I want to invest in that.
I'll tell you this: the trailer is 1:57. That's all I can find on googling this quickly.
Oh, so it's not 90 minutes.
No, that's the trailer. Is 1:57.
Okay. But that's not what I
Um,
asked.
yeah. But I've seen the movie. It's 91 minutes.
Oh,
It was one
no,
off.
that's you got to
You're
have
a round up kind of guy. It's
you-
Pi Day.
you
Round up,
have to have a hard line somewhere.
and
it's
your
a s-
hard line.
Is 90 minutes and 59 seconds.
Hey guys, you want to say hi to my daughter?
Yeah.
Please.
Hey Kayla, I'm doing the podcast. Do you want to say hi?
Hi, Kayla.
Come on out. You can sit on my lap.
Oh,
Hi.
hello. Oh,
Hi,
right
James.
for the
Hi,
microphone.
Kyle.
Hi, Kayla. How are you?
Are you doing good? Here, do you want to hear them, Kayla? So this is my daughter. She's 3. She's going to bed, but she wanted to say hi, I guess. Can you hear them?
Can you hear us now? Can you hear me, Kayla?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there goes the heads. There goes the speakers.
There you go. Hey Kayla, we're talking about movies. Have you ever seen any
Dad,
movies?
can you put it where? Can you stop putting
Yeah.
it? Keeps falling. Put it.
Keeps falling.
I did it.
That keeps falling. How's that?
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Hey Kayla,
Hi.
have you ever
Hey.
seen
Hi.
any movies?
No.
You've
Not
never
a
seen
single
a movie?
movie? Your
What
dad
do you-
hasn't made you watch
Hi,
Robin Hood?
Hey, have you ever seen Robin Hood?
Yes.
What do you think of Robin Hood?
Good.
Yeah. What are your favorite movies?
Robin Hood.
Okay. What else?
100 Mission.
Oh, you like 101 Dalmatians?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's good. What other movies do you like?
100 Missions, Robin Hood, and Babies.
Baby.
Oh, you like
babies. Oh,
Babies.
we've heard a lot about
That's right. We
babies.
haven't watched that in a while, though.
Ah.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions for Kay?
Might be time for a rewatch.
Yeah.
How long is Robin Hood? Is it 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Is it getting longer as time goes on?
No, she watched.
Do you
the
feel
whole
like
thing,
that,
though.
Kayla?
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
Wow.
Wow.
Do you like Finding
Interesting.
Nemo?
Yeah.
What do you like in Finding Nemo?
There's a shark.
There's a shark.
There's a shark.
Yeah,
Yep.
there is. Is he
There is a
funny?
shark. Do you like the
But-
turtle?
Fish
in
are
Finding Nemo?
friends, not food.
Yeah, that's what he says in the Finding Nemo.
That's
Why are you
right.
talking to me, Hugh, Dada?
That's a microphone.
Hi.
That's what we talking to microphone.
Let's put it higher.
Do you want to put it higher?
There we go.
I said
It's better higher.
higher.
She's got better
I do-
microphone technique than you do, Zach.
Yeah, she's got really good technique.
Yeah. And she keeps her head in frame the whole
I
time.
said of you.
Yeah.
Now I can.
Would you want to say goodbye?
Bye,
Bye, Kayla.
It's fun talking to you.
Bye, guys. Good night. Good night, girl. Love
Bye.
you. Mwah.
Good night, Kayla.
That was awesome.
Nothing like a little cameo,
She's a natural.
for sure.
Yeah, she's got presence.
Yeah, Kyle. I don't know. I mean, you've been a great host, but we only have 3 slots, and the younger
Well-
generation is coming up.
We need those alphas to jump in on this.
Yeah.
All right. Josh
So
did have
the
one
two
more
that he recommended. Sorry to jump.
Oh, good,
in.
yeah.
The 2 that he recommended are Australian films.
Yes.
Sunset Limited is not Australian.
No, correct. Sorry.
Oh, but Nitram is, and so
Nitram
is
is an Aussie
Castle,
film.
right?
Yep.
The Castle is Australian.
Yeah. That's the movie I watched that he was like, every
Gotcha.
Aussie house knows this film.
I'm curious if Josh knows the movie Higher Ground from 2020, which I watched recently, but it fell off my last 10 top 10. And I gave this movie 4 stars, and it was great. And it's Australian.
You kind of have a thing for Australian Westerns.
I do seek them out, yes. Because a lot of them are just as good as like your average Western, but with
Yeah.
different politics, which makes them
Yeah.
interesting
interesting.
to me because they have the same trappings, but they're about different things than American Westerns would be about.
Sure. Quick note, it's called High Ground.
High ground, right?
High
not-
ground. Okay.
Not higher ground.
Yeah.
You're right. I
James, you also
stand
recommended
corrected.
Sweet Country to me. That was another Australian Western.
That was
with
good.
Sam
too.
Neill. Yeah, that was good.
Yep.
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 All right. Josh ends by saying, "We went and saw the first screening of The Batman last night, and Evelyn was so excited because we got to see it before most people. So, welcome to the early screening club, guys. That's awesome."
Yeah.
Oh man, you early screeners.
Definitely. I think she sent us an email too, but it didn't make it into the mix.
I didn't see that come through because he actually said that she was going to send us an email, but
Yeah, but I didn't get that.
maybe she sent it directly to James. I don't know.
What?
Anyway, he
Did she,
gave
James?
he gave
I
The
don't know.
Batman 4.5 stars.
Okay, nice.
So, Josh, thanks for writing in. That was awesome. I like emails where there's like, hey, there's 10 things I want to talk about. Here they all are.
Definitely.
James,
What do
All
you
right.
got, James?
got an email
got-
too, right?
We got another email from another longtime listener, multi-emailer. This is Troy Carruthers sending in his latest Last 10 Top 10. Troy writes, "Hey guys, I'll be seeing The Batman this weekend, so I'll listen to the podcast after that, and I'm so pumped about both. Also, I just finished watching all of the Best Picture nominated movies, so I'll be putting together my predictions soon, as I'm sure you will be too. For now, here is my top 10 last 10. So first of all, I think we're kind of on a mission to watch all the Best Picture nominated movies too.
Of course.
Yes.
Think I will be able to get there. There's a good chance. How are you guys looking?
I just have one left.
Just one?
Yeah,
I'm missing
just drive my
two.
car.
Yeah, I'm missing King Richard and Drive My Car.
Okay.
So I should get there.
Awesome. And I think we're going to make our predictions not next week, but the week after, possibly. I don't know when we're exactly going to make predictions, but we will make predictions between now and before the Oscars happen.
Well, the week after is the Oscars, so I think next week is when we have to do it.
I know we might record before the Oscars. We'll figure it
I
out.
see what you're saying. We'll figure it out.
One way or another, there will be predictions.
There's some inside baseball right there.
Things will be predicted. All right. So Troy's latest last 10 top 10, his number 10, Death to 2021, which is something that comes up on my Netflix all the time, and I just pass it by because I'm like, I don't know. I lived through 2020 and 2021. I feel like I don't want to watch any more of it.
No, thank you.
And it's Troy's number 10, so another good reason to not bother. His number 9, From Here to Eternity, 1953. Anybody even heard of this?
Yeah.
Yeah, this
I've
is
seen
a
it.
famous scene of a couple making out in the sand as waves are crashing over them. That's this
Yeah,
movie.
it's a melodrama.
Yeah.
It's like a Pearl Harbor thing with Burt Lancaster.
I'll pass. His number 8, West Side Story from 2021. We're going to talk about this movie on this very episode. He gave it 3 stars and said, I may give this a higher rating in time. So it's a grower, according to Troy, evidently. His number 7, The Green Knight. I may rate this one higher in time as well. I need to rewatch Green Knight because I think I'm in the same boat. I probably just need to see it again now that I know what it is and what it isn't, and just appreciate it for what it gave me. Number 6, 1952, The Greatest Show on Earth.
Circus movie.
Yeah, Charlton Heston.
Yeah, that feels right.
I could be wrong, but something like that.
That feels right.
Never seen it. Number 5, Licorice Pizza. He writes, I really enjoyed this movie, and the more I think about it, the more I like it, which is standard for me when I watch a PTA film.
But he was really bothered by the age gap.
Yes. Yeah, he does
Yeah.
write that as well. I can understand that. I mean, I kind of felt like that movie, isn't it loosely based on like PTA, like an experience he actually had or something?
Yeah.
I think so.
So if you're telling a true story, I mean, not that it was good when it was actually happening in real life, but you are telling a story that actually happened on some level. Well, you just can't ever tell those stories, even if they're relatively innocent in the end.
I mean,
or turn out innocently in the end. I don't know.
to play devil's advocate, the movie
Mhm.
never comments on the age gap.
Right. Should it?
No, well, but it also could be a movie where he's kind of writing it from his nostalgic perspective.
Mhm.
So, when he was 15, it was like, yeah, this is cool.
Right.
I guess I got the sense from the movie that the like kind of attraction was mostly a one-way thing. Like he wanted to be with her,
Mm-hmm.
but she more was just intrigued by his enthusiasm about life. I don't think she was actually interested in him until he was like had gotten much older. That was my take.
I don't think he
I
got that
don't
much older in the movie.
Yeah, I don't think he gets any older in the movie.
Oh, really? There's not several years that pass?
I
I
would
kind of got the
say
sense he was like, it was 4 years later by the time at the end.
I would say months tops.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff, all those businesses and stuff like that, in theory, that happens within the span of a year.
Yeah.
Oh, well then she should go to jail.
Zach's pivoting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to debate laws, but nothing that I know of that's depicted in that movie is illegal. But maybe it is. I don't know. California in the 70s. Because there's a kiss and some showing of stuff, but like no, I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of the laws, but it'd be interesting to know if a law was broken. Certainly you could say that maybe, a moral line was crossed, but I'm not sure a law was broken. Anyway, number 4 on Troy's list, Dune. He writes, I believe one of you, Zach, ? Said that you were definitely up for the ride that this movie was offering. This was my experience as well. Also, it's been a long time since I watched a movie, and the sound impressed me more than anything. Loved it.
That was me that said that.
Yeah, you liked it the most of the three of us.
Yeah.
His number 3, King Richard, still on Kyle's watch list. Very good movie, and I'm glad that Will Smith is nominated for Best Actor, he writes. Though all that amateurish tennis playing really took me right out of the movie.
It knocked off a full star.
His number 2, Coda. Wow, I love this movie, and Troy Kotsur was the best actor in it for me. I really hope he gets Best Supporting Actor. I agree.
Was he the dad or the brother?
The dad.
Supposedly he's like a long-time stage actor, one of the few deaf stage actors that has occasionally been allowed to cross over to mainstream stages. And so this is kind of his coming out for film type of thing. His number 1 is from 2021. It's Flea. Just watched this tonight. It was super moving, and I hope all 3 of you get a chance to take it in. It's streaming on Prime if you have that service. I think this is a documentary. Is that right?
It is, and it's told partially, if not fully, through animation.
And it's Danish.
Yeah, yes, it's documentary. I believe it's about an immigrant, but also like the husband learning more about his spouse's background as an immigrant. It's supposed to be very, very interesting. It's one of the like movies that I want to see before the Oscars. This is one of them.
All I know
Is
about
it
it before you
rotoscoped?
guys just
It
told
might
me
be rotoscoped, yes.
was that it was animated, and that Vice was related to it because they were like constantly talking about how they got nominated for an Academy Award.
Oh, did Vice make this movie?
Like on social media. Yeah. They're just
Interesting.
Like, oh,
Vice Studios.
Oh, I did not know that.
I think they're like, loosely money connected to it more than they actually made it type of thing. But
Okay.
well, thank you for the email, Troy, Josh, and Evelyn, right? Sorry, we missed your email, Evelyn.
We didn't
You
get an
too
email.
can send us an email.
Evelyn, email us. I want to know your take on Batman.
Yeah. Hey guys at Cinereelists.com. Send us that email. We'll discuss it in a future episode. It's time though. It's time to talk about some movies. We're going to talk about 3 this week. All 3 have been nominated for an Academy Award. Did Belfast get a Best Picture nomination?
Yes.
It did.
Okay, so all 3 of these got Best Picture nominations. And yeah, we're going to use this episode as a reason to catch up on these movies, essentially. So we watched Belfast, Worst Person in the World, West Side Story. We're going to go in alphabetical order. First up, we've got Belfast. We're going to get into it right after this clip.
When is your next chance?
We have to do a project about the moon landing.
What did those boys not come back from that?
They did. Now we have to cut things out of the papers and explain how they got there.
If they did get there, they did get to the moon. It's not what it says here. God doesn't like it.
And I watched every night too that they were up there. And how did I never see Mike Collins in the mothership doing his orbit? Surely you would have seen the shape of Columbus against the light of the moon.
No, that's because mostly he was on the dark side.
Exactly. It's the side that Lucifer hangs his shillelagh.
No, look, he was on the dark side of the moon most of the time where we couldn't see him. You know, when he was doing his orbit, and then maybe, you know, just before he was due to come around the corner, you had to go in for your tea.
If I could come up with something smart about that, maybe I could stay up at the top desk and wait till she gets back there.
Or you could say the moon's made of green cheese and drop down a place.
Or you could do the project together, you and a young lady. You get
Welcome back. I was told during the clip that The Worst Person in the World did not get an Academy Award nomination for Best Picture. Did it get any Academy Award nominations? Can somebody tell me that?
Yeah,
Or
I
did we
believe
watch
best.
it for no good reason.
Yeah, no, this is a waste of my time. No, I believe it was best international feature
Okay.
or whatever the category is called now.
For old foreign language category.
The old foreign language category, correct?
Gotcha. I was also brought to my attention that I did not put the movies in alphabetical order because we're gonna talk about The Worst Person in the World next. But if you look at the title of the movies, The Worst Person in the World starts with a T, which comes before West Side Story. So they are in alphabetical order, technically.
If you don't ignore the, which is
Why would you ignore
Usually
the
done.
It's part of the title.
well, it's usually done. It's
Yeah,
the
like-
norm.
Everyone knows if you want to find a tale of two cities, you look in the A section. Duh.
We're not looking at a section though. We're discussing them in the order in which they're alphabetized in.
Yes, but they're alphabetized by section. Okay,
All right.
James.
Let's move into Belfast. Belfast is an Oscar nominated movie. It's a 2021 British Irish coming of age drama directed and written by Kenneth Branagh, starring, oh boy, Caitrín Balfe, Judi Dench, Jamie Dornan, Ciara Hinds, Colin Morgan, Josie Walker, and Jude Hill, amongst others. The official IMDb plot synopsis for Belfast is a young boy and his working class Belfast family experience the tumultuous late 1960s. I feel like my inflection ruined that, but yeah, it's a movie based in the late 60s set in Belfast, and it happens during the Protestant Catholic riots,
Troubles.
battles.
Troubles.
Yeah, I'm not sure you'd call it a war, but religious based fighting in the city of Belfast. And this young kid who I guess is Kenneth Branagh loosely. I've heard this is based on an experience he had as a kid,
I would
Yeah.
imagine. Yeah.
but it's not really him. Like, it's not like the character is named Kenneth or anything. And some things are imagined. So yeah, so this young kid's growing up in Belfast in the middle of this tumultuous time, and it's about him and his family and the people around him and them going through that difficult time. What did you guys think of Belfast?
Kyle, what'd you think?
I liked this movie.
Nice.
Yeah, I did. I've not seen a ton of Kenneth Branagh directed films, but just based on his filmography, this has to be the best film he's directed in like 20 years, if not longer. Like, I can't think of something I've liked since Much Ado About Nothing back in the 90s.
Thor? That's Thor's the movie he's known for. It's his best movie ever made.
Thor's not the movie he's known
No,
for.
I mean,
Sure, it is.
Thor might be the movie he's known for to like the MCU audience, but
I bet
He's
if you walked around, you surveyed 1,000 people and asked them what movie Kenneth Branagh directed,
900.
I bet you
who?
Thor comes up
Yeah.
more often than any other movie. So don't tell me it's not the movie he's most known for. Might not be his best movie in your opinion, but it's definitely the one he's most known for.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
According to IMDb, there's 4 movies he's known for.
That's
none of them
not
are
the
Thor.
same as
It's
asking
literally
your
called
average
known
person.
for.
Yeah, well,
Known
but
for.
those could be as director, as actor too. I'm curious to know, like, as director, what is he known for?
He
Right,
directed
right,
all
as
of
director.
these.
He directed all
He
of them?
directed all of these.
Is it Henry VIII?
No, Henry V.
Oh, sorry, Henry V. Much Ado About
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yep.
Hamlet.
Yep.
And Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah.
Well, Kenneth Branagh obviously has IMDb Pro because he made sure Thor was not in that list.
Well, anyway, I think this is the best movie he's directed in 20 years. So this movie is mostly in black and white, but there are some splashes of color, which I thought was clever. The black and white was beautiful. It looked like photographs. Just how well he utilizes the color scheme and how he set up some of his shots. The performances are great. I mean, obviously he's got some great actors in there like Judi Dench and Ciarán Hinds, but I really like the kid, Jude Hill, who is playing the young Kenneth Branagh. Whenever I can see a good kid actor, I'm always there for it, and not one who's like this precocious little kid. Like this felt like an actual kid, not some
Yeah.
6-year-old playing a 15-year-old. Like often
Yeah.
you see from kid performances. Like I felt like I was watching an actual kid here. If I was to pick apart some things, I would say that plot-wise, this movie felt kind of meandering. And thought it was most interesting when they were focusing on the troubles and how that was directly impacting the family and their neighborhood. Because it seemed to me like this war was only happening on their literal block, and like other parts of the city maybe had their own like little mini skirmishes, but it didn't feel like it was in like an all-out, Protestant versus Catholic assault on the city, but like it was sort of almost like a block to block thing was happening. And this movie very much focused on just their one little block. But then there was also these other plots about like the father and money troubles and him traveling to London. And I found that just to be less interesting than when they were focusing on sort of how the troubles were directly affecting them. So yeah, this is a movie that I found very easy to enjoy. It goes down easy. Megan gave this 5 stars. She said one of her favorite movies of 2021 so far. So all in all, it was enjoyed in the Peterson household.
Cool.
Zach?
My experience of this film was not I don't know how to describe how I feel about this film. I was fine with this film.
Okay.
All right.
I have no problems with it, and nothing really stood out to me. I don't know. A lot of people really connected with it. Like when I was going through our listener top 20s of the year, this was really high for a lot of people. And I think I just missed it. I don't know. But it was fine. I wasn't mad at it. I wasn't bored, but nothing stood out to me really. I do like the black and white. It's really beautifully shot. And it's not that I didn't like any of the characters or the acting. They were all fine. I guess I didn't have any emotional connection to anything that was happening. I just felt very neutral about this film.
Now,
I think if I were to say anything negative, it would be it was all very much shot on a soundstage. Like this one neighborhood set that they had. And it was just very much a set. It felt like a set.
It does feel very small.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that. I like that they were focusing really on their block. And maybe that was
Yeah.
for budget purposes too. I don't know. But, I can also imagine like as a 6-year-old, your world is
That's his
very
world.
small. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Oh yeah, I get it. I'm not mad about it.
So like,
Yeah.
when the boy was standing in the middle of the street and, the riots were happening and he's crying for his parents, that just did nothing to your cold black heart.
Yeah, it did nothing.
Okay.
I saw it and I took it in.
Zach, we all know you lack paternal instinct, so it's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's rare that I have little to say about a film, but this one just if I'm very neutral about this movie. I don't know if I would rewatch it if I would feel differently, but I recognize that a lot of people really like it, and so I'm not sure what I missed.
How would you feel if it won Best Picture?
I'd be surprised, I
Mhm.
guess. I think more power to Kenneth Branagh. I think he's well respected in the industry, so maybe that would play a part of it. I like that people can make personal films, you know? Good for them. Like this is obviously his experience and like that's really great. Yeah, I don't know. What did you think, James? Did you love it?
I liked it a lot. Yeah, I enjoyed it a great bit.
Like what were your favorite parts?
My favorite parts are probably when there's a shot where the his grandfather and grandmother and him are hanging out in their apartment. I don't know what you call it, their flat,
They're
whatever.
flat, yeah.
And they're just being pleasant old people. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's just an example of like how the movie is about this bigger thing happening, but unless that thing happens to come down their road, it's just a thing that's happening in this in the world of this kid, basically. Um, and you get to see kind of the extreme of that at the front end of it, but then after a while, it just becomes a thing that they're living with. And over the course of what feels like maybe less than a year as far as timeline goes, they
Yeah.
just continue living with it until it gets to the point where they're like, okay, um, do we need to change our situation or not, type of thing, because this is kind of not the same place that we've lived in. And I liked that style of storytelling, that you were staying firmly in the perspective of the kid, by extension the people around him as well, but most of that movie is from the perspective of the kid. And and the fact that you, instead of living in the world of the people who are doing the bad things, fighting the wars, espionaging each other, which is all happening around them, instead you're spending time with the innocent parties that really don't want any part of it, and they just want to live peacefully with their own neighbors, type of thing. And I liked that presentation of the plot itself. And yeah, I was just charmed by very specific scenes. That one with the two older parents who
Mhm.
end up dancing in front of the kid, and the kid just like looks enthralled by the good example of love that's being put in front of him. Basically, there's that one. Later on, he has a discussion with his grandfather, not in their flat. That is very sweet, I would say, and charming, and also like a difficult conversation at the same time. I loved that. In the very end, the very, very end, there's another scene where he's standing with his father across the street from the house that is the girl that he has a crush on.
Mhm.
They're standing across the street, and he asks his father, because the whole thing that I learned from this movie, for the most part, is that a lot of the political tension in Ireland, it comes from religion, which I had heard before. I mean, I've seen the Brad Pitt, Harrison Ford movie, whatever that movie's called.
What?
So,
Yeah, he's right.
Is it Brad Pitt, or it's Brad
It-
Pitt, and Robert
Brad Pitt and
Redford?
Harrison Ford.
Is
What
it Harrison
movie
Ford
is-
or is it Robert
It
Redford?
is, yeah.
What
Okay.
movie is this?
I forget, but Brad Pitt does an Irish accent in it, and they made fun of him for it. I remember that.
Brad Pitt and Harrison Ford are in a movie about
Yeah.
the Troubles together.
I don't know if it's
They are.
Harrison
The
Ford.
Devil's Own.
The Devil's Own.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I do know a little bit about it. I watched what was that other movie? Soldier 77 or something like that. That's related.
James, there's also newspapers that you could learn about geopolitical events in.
Movies are all I've got.
Have you heard of
I don't know
Wikipedia?
what this thing is you call a newspaper.
You do use Wikipedia often, don't you?
How often do you read old newspapers, Zach? Come on. You're more
I
likely
mean,
to
you
read
were
a book.
live during this time.
I was alive in 1969.
No, the Troubles extended into the 80s.
Sure.
You were alive during it.
Yeah, I was alive. I was like 8. You were reading geopolitical. By the time the 80s ended, I was 12.
I was delivering papers when that
So was
happened.
I, but I wasn't
Yeah.
reading them.
And the Capital
papers I was
Times
delivering.
was reporting all on what's happening in Ireland at the time.
Finger on the pulse.
San Clemente, California, there wasn't a huge portion of the newspaper dedicated to what's going on in Ireland. That's for sure. Anyway, at the end of this movie, the girl that this young boy has a crush on is Catholic and they're Protestant, and he asks his dad, like, if I was to grow up and marry her, would she be allowed in my house? And he says something like, I don't care if she was Catholic, Hindu. He like lists off all these religions. As long as she's nice to you and nice to other people, she's welcome in our house. And I was like, what a nice sentiment for a movie that is essentially about war. You know what I mean? It was like, it's probably maybe what's interesting to me about it is that it's a war movie that takes the perspective of the most naive participant there and then allows them to ask questions about what's going on around them. And then if you too are also naive of the situation, you get to kind of like learn on a base level with him and be charmed by most of the people in the movie. Like out of the dozen people in the movie, there's maybe one bad guy. There is one bad guy. Everybody else is well-intentioned. And I enjoyed that about it. Also the presentation, the black and white, the fact that every time it cuts to color, it's showing something that's not related to his street. So it's something on TV. It's something that's playing in the movie theater. At the beginning, it's the shots of Belfast in current day. Everything that's like his world is black and white. I liked that kind of, might be a gimmick, but it worked for me. And the music was just not the same music that you see in movies. It was like folksy, Bruce Springsteen-esque music throughout the movie. And
no, it was all Van Morrison.
Sure, I just
the entire
mean
soundtrack.
Like singer, guitarist.
I don't think Bruce Springsteen is well known as a singer, songwriter, guitarist.
Maybe not as well as Van Morrison. I'll give you that. But he sings more about Americana and stuff like that. But it's all like storytelling songs, is what I'm saying.
Well, and definitely Bruce Springsteen now is a little bit more Americana than he was.
I'm not talking about Born in the USA. I'm talking about
like,
post 9/11 Bruce Springsteen,
latter day Springsteen.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give that to you.
Yeah. I enjoyed all those elements, and I've seen it twice, and I will see it again someday.
Nice. James, you brought up an interesting thing about how like we're seeing kind of this awful time of history, but through the perspective of like a naive,
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me think of The Last King of Scotland, where we're seeing like what's happening with Idi Amin's like regime and stuff like that in Uganda through the eyes of like Forrest Whitaker. I think it's Forrest Whitaker, right?
Yeah,
or
Forrest Whitaker.
James McAvoy wanted to. Okay, but that's another movie that I gave 2.5 out of 5 stars to, that like other people really, really like. So perhaps that's not my favorite way to tell a story. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Last King of Scotland, I believe, though, has a rated R edge to it.
Yeah, there's some
whereas
that final act,
Belfast is a PG movie. I mean, it is, despite the fact that it has the setting it has, it maintains the childlike perspective through even the worst of things happening. And on top of that, it's 97 minutes, so it's very breezy and easy to watch.
Sure.
And I'm okay with the fact that we are getting the view of this time of history through the eyes of a child at a child-appropriate presentation. Like, I think if we went all full come and see on this movie, I would have definitely not enjoyed it as much.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I do think there's a place for come and see, and that other one that I saw that's also a kid.
I like the
going
white
through
ribbon
war-torn-
or something.
Yeah.
The yellow ribbon, I can't remember what it's called.
It's The Painted Bird.
There you go.
I think
What
there's a
did you
place for
guys-
those. They're just very different movies than Belfast. That's for sure.
What did you guys think of Son of Rambo?
I've seen it, but don't remember much about it.
Oh, okay.
The movie?
Yeah.
Isn't
I
that
feel like if you liked Belfast, you would really like Son of Rambo.
isn't that like a kid's satire movie?
It's not satire, but it's a kid like who is obsessed with Rambo, and it's like his childhood going through hard things, but like dealing with it by like acting out Rambo scenes.
Oh, I always thought it was like a Tim Allen movie from like the 90s.
Oh no.
Oh,
No, no.
okay. I thought it was something like Jungle to Jungle or something like that.
No.
That you're thinking of Jungle to Jungle.
Yeah, I know, but I thought it was a movie like Jungle to Jungle,
I
like with
gotcha.
that same vein. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
All right. So should I see Son of Rambo?
I think so.
Okay.
It's by Garth Jennings. Do you like him?
I don't know who he is.
Um
I gave it a 2.5, Zach, which sounds about right. You don't know who Garth Jennings is?
I mean, I don't know
He's-
the name off the top of my head. I'm sure if you listed some movies he's directed, I could.
Probably the only one you've seen is Hitchhiker's Guide.
Oh yeah, okay.
He might have seen the Sing movies because of his son.
Yeah. Have you seen Sing?
I've seen the first Sing. Yes.
He
He
did
did
that
that.
too.
Okay, so far a movie I like and a movie I don't like. So
Okay.
All right. You're off to the races.
can't wait.
All right. Anybody else have anything else to say about this, or should we letterbox it? Great. I gave it 4 stars.
I too gave it 4 stars.
I also gave it 2.5 stars.
All right. Awesome. A 2.5 and 2 4s for Belfast. Let's move on to our second movie for this week. The Worst Person in the World, which we're going to discuss right after this clip.
Du, den här bagen, ska jag ta den på sovrummet?
Ja, tack. Jag tog en bok, ja.
Hæ?
Ja. Kast den ena.
That was The Worst Person in the World, a romantic comedy drama directed by Joachim Trier. Ugh, man,
I believe it's Joachim.
you think it's Joachim?
I don't think it's Joaquin. No.
I said Joachim with an M.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's probably Joachim.
It's Norwegian.
Chweidel Elijah 4.
Starring Renate Reinsve.
Chweidel Elijah 4?
Sure.
You got Chweideled.
Anders Danielson Lai, amongst others. Those are the main two. Those are the main two.
Awesome.
The Worst Person in the World. The official IMDb plot synopsis is the chronicles of 4 years in the life of Julie, a young woman who navigates the troubled waters of her love life and struggles to find her career path, leading her to take a realistic look at who she really is. Does somebody want to tell us in a nutshell what all that meant?
This is a young woman who is trying to decide what she wants to do with her life, and she's pretty indecisive. That is one of her best qualities.
Yeah.
And so she is changing her major. She's changing her relationships. She doesn't know what she wants. And finally, she falls into a good relationship, and she's happy. And then she meets someone at a party, and she seems to hit it off with him too. And now she has a decision to make. Is that a good
Yeah.
summary?
Yeah.
That's great. It's also a movie that is told in 12 parts,
With an epilogue and a prologue.
Mhm. Which might make you think that it's really long. And it wasn't short, but it wasn't crazy. 128 minutes. So 2 hours, 10 minutes.
It never felt long, and none of the stories ever felt overlong either.
One of them was literally like 15 seconds long.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of has like a short film vibe to it. where you're just like getting little short films from beginning to end. Kind of each scene. I guess most movies do this, but there's not too many scenes where people are moving from one place to another. It's just you're getting put into a conversation in one set, one place, and then it moves to a brand new place without showing you the transition.
Correct. Yeah.
So a lot of movies do that without actually separating themselves into chapters, but this one does. So, what do you guys think of the worst person in the world? First of
Kyle?
all,
I think Zach
is
goes
she
first
the
this time.
worst person in the world? Right? Because it's about her, right? She's the title character.
Yeah, I don't think she's the worst person in the world. I think maybe she thinks that about herself at times. Like, oh, I'm the
Yeah.
worst.
And it's even another character that wonders if he's the worst person in the world.
Mhm.
So I think it's just speaking to this self-doubt that she has.
Sure.
Well, I really love this film actually. This film was awesome. I had no idea what to expect. It's a Norwegian film in Norwegian. It's one of those films though that one of those foreign films where sometimes you'll look away because you've what to do something real quick, assuming that you'll still understand what's happening because you kind of forget that it's in another language. Like I guess that's how immersed I felt. Like I forgot that I'm reading subtitles in order to follow along.
Mhm.
I thought so much of this movie felt authentic and was clever. So there were some magical realism moments in the
Mhm.
film that absolutely I was not expecting, and I had complete buy-in within like 15 seconds of them happening. And I was really excited that they did these bold things. In otherwise such a traditionally shot film, right?
Mhm.
I thought all of the acting was stellar. And the main actress, she's kind of like a Norwegian Dakota Johnson. I kept thinking that she
Yeah,
like
yeah,
reminded
I
me a lot
thought
of
the same
Dakota
thing.
Johnson.
Yep.
But yeah, I thought all the acting was great. It felt very, I guess, authentic in a way that like an indie film can capture, you know, and a blockbuster often doesn't. Yeah, and I found it to be super engrossing. I don't know. What'd you guys think?
I don't think I liked it as much as you did, Zach.
Okay.
But I did enjoy this movie. Um, it took me a little bit longer to get the buy-in, but there were some key scenes, like some of that magical realism you're talking about. The mushroom trip I thought was really an inspired and interesting scene that was very different from the rest of the movie.
Mhm.
But for me, the key scene in this movie was the breakup scene. That was like the fourth or fifth. I can't remember which story it was in the the whole genre and the whole story. Um, and that was I want to say it's one of the best breakups I've seen in a movie because the breakup happens and then there's not like slam doors, walk away. Like then the couple goes through the process of grief together. Like they hit all like whatever the generic 12 steps of grief, denial and all that kind of stuff. And I just thought that was very interesting to see this drawn out breakup scene in a movie, which felt much more like what a real breakup is and not a movie breakup that you would see where it's big and dramatic and everyone's huffing and puffing. So I thought that was an awesome part of the movie. I think my biggest issue with it, and it's not the movie, it's not like anything the movie did wrong. It's just the genre. I'm not a fan of like mumblecore. And I think this is kind of within the obviously it's not English, but it's within that style. To me, it was, and James is shaking his head.
No
So,
way. You have not seen a mumblecore movie if you think this is mumblecore.
well, then maybe I don't know what mumblecore is, but to me, this felt like mumblecore. Is like very relationship heavy, very
Mhm.
talk heavy, and I was like, okay, this is fine. I've nothing wrong with it. I have seen what I think are mumblecore movies that I don't like, and I definitely enjoyed this one more. But just as a genre, I was kind of like, this is fine. So I think if the movie didn't have some of that magical realism, if it didn't have like that one key breakup scene, which was amazing, this would probably be lower. But those moments elevated it out of the neutrality level for me.
I'll definitely agree that those moments elevate the movie, but it didn't start at neutral for me, for sure. I like this as well. Um, especially like the lead actress and the kind of two supporting boyfriends. They're just all three of them are perfect for me
Yeah,
in what
they
they
really
needed to
are.
do and who they represented to her, like what qualities she was looking for at any given moment of the movie. I thought that played really well, and I also laughed quite a bit at this movie, not necessarily at jokes, but just like some of the decision making and the even just like pratfalls, like the dancing scene that stops on a dime made me literally laugh out loud. And then them like hugging after the fight that they're overhearing was great. That made me laugh. There were several moments in the movie where I was charmed by it at minimum and literally laughing out loud. And I think this is, I'm sure there's more of them. I've probably seen a couple, maybe like the one I love, you could categorize as like a sophisticated romantic comedy. And I think this falls in that world as well, where it's just like there's a romance to this and it's also a comedy, but it's not 13 going on 30, which is fine. 13 going on 30 should exist. It's just playing at a different level than what this movie's trying to play at, as far as laughs and stuff like that. And that might just be the type of filmmaking that comes out of this world, this part of the world, or it might be an intentional decision. Either way, I enjoyed that part of it. I also felt like because the romantic elements of the movie and the dramatic elements of her journey were so grounded in realism, whenever they stepped out of that, it was for just long enough
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
for you to move back into it and not scratch your head and wonder why that happened. It and they also all seem to have motivations beyond let's just be weird for a while type of thing.
Yeah,
Like
it was all motivated.
yeah, like the second or the first time you experience that, she's making a choice. Like she is making a decision. She's leaving one world and running to the other one,
Yep.
and nothing else in the world matters. And to visualize that in a movie that so far has not even attempted to do something so surreal, gave an importance to that turning point in the movie. And yeah, I I really liked that in particular. The mushroom scene, it was fine, but didn't work as well as that first surrealist scene for me.
Mhm.
Yeah. Overall, I felt it was slow but fast, oddly, because like you could sum up what happens in the movie, on with 3 plot points basically, and it takes 2 hours and 10 minutes to get there. But it kind of feels like oh, the Rachel getting married, where it's like that's another movie where nothing really happens in that movie in the long run, and yet it's fun to hang out with these characters. So I really enjoyed this one. I think it's pretty unique.
Yeah. If
I
you
don't know.
liked 500 Days of Summer, this is kind
Yeah.
of like a soul sister to that.
I don't know if I laughed ever during this movie.
Oh, really? I laughed.
That's good. I'm glad
Yeah.
you guys did. Yeah.
When
I
when
can't think of a
he
moment that was funny.
when the
You
new
didn't think it was
boyfriend-
funny when the dance party ends? That was hilarious.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I can't even picture the scene you're talking about. Like, I definitely watched this
Oh,
movie,
really?
and you're like the dance party. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Oh, I
They're
definitely
having
know
a
what you're
dance
talking
party.
about.
Them and 2 other couples are having a dance party.
Oh,
At his family's house.
She goads a woman
Oh, yeah,
into dancing
okay.
with them, and
Yes,
then the
that's
scene
right.
ends.
It's early in the movie when they're at the house.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. See, that didn't stand out to me as like, oh, that's wow, look at that. Like, it just, I was like, oh yeah, okay.
In fact,
there
a
was-
lot of the scenes with their friends made me laugh because she's younger than the guy she's dating, and all those people are in a different spot in life, and she's just like, it's like she's at the zoo basically,
Just like
she's
observing.
just like
them,
watching these strange people
Yeah.
act strangely, and to all of them this is 100% normal.
Yeah. So
There's a lot of
I
little
picked up on all
things.
that. Like, it's not like this movie's over my head. I just didn't find the humor in it. I thought it was interesting, but
I laughed surprisingly hard when the new boyfriend said something about how like, oh, this is better for the environment. And like you could see like, oh, he doesn't even realize how influenced he was by his past relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And like
Oh,
that has
yeah.
rubbed off on him. And now he cares about things that he never cared about.
Yeah.
Stuff like that I thought were really funny and subtle.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this a lot. Evidently, this is one of 3 movies that the director that are connected in theme and style, and this is the 3rd movie in a trilogy loosely called the Oslo trilogy. So now I'm curious to see the other 2, see if um, it gives, similar performance. Kyle would much rather not do that, right? Watch the other 2.
I'm fine. I mean, you guys can
Sure.
watch them, and if you think they're even better than The Worst Person in the World, then I'll check it out. But like,
It's got to be better. Huh?
this is my watermark right here. And anything, wait, again, I had nothing. I have no problem with this movie. I'm not going to give it a bad rating. I just wasn't
Right.
as enthralled as you two were.
Sure. I wouldn't say I was enthralled by it, but I understand why it's highly regarded for sure. I would put it up there too.
Like if it wins, I haven't seen many of the other foreign features. If it wins best foreign feature, I'm not gonna be mad.
Sure.
But
It'll be the one you've
me-
seen, right?
yeah, unless I see Flea or something like that. Yeah.
Sure.
It was very hard for me to find anything in it that I would change. Like there wasn't a lot that I'd be like, oh, I didn't like that decision that the writing took or the directors took or that some actor decided to do with their performance.
Mhm.
Like all of it just felt so like inevitable and real to me.
Yeah. The ending is sad.
It's
Yeah.
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 And like in a very realistic way. It's very, I mean, it's sad, but also like it's sad in general, but from her perspective, kind of freeing in a weird way because she gets some resolutions that she wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And like she's definitely a different person from the beginning of the movie than she is at the end. And you're seeing most of that change through the relationships. She's pretty nasty to the second guy too. I mean, she's not a perfect person, but I would agree that she's not necessarily the worst person in the world.
I think you could cut the story about the ex-boyfriend going on the misogynistic rant on live television,
Mhm.
and that would not change this movie whatsoever.
Well, sure. There's got to be a way to reconnect them.
Well, yeah, I mean, I understand that, but
You could have just done the bookstore scene with the friend.
right,
That
you
would've
could,
connected
yeah,
them.
like that was maybe the one time where I felt like we were kind of trailing a little far away from the thread here.
Yeah. I mean, I think the person who made the movie has some opinions on what's going on with that controversial topic. And maybe he wanted a scene where he could express some things. And also there's another scene where a woman is allowed to write whatever she wants and it's accepted and she gets some level of notoriety for it.
True, yeah.
So I think he's on some level making a commentary that times have flipped or are confusing or something like that when it comes to those things.
There were also in this movie, there were tangents, I would say,
Mhm.
that aren't on the main thread. One of them being her dad and that relationship she has with her father. And I found that just as a perfect little subplot, like expressed really well.
And it seemed to define her as a character and as a person too. Like you learned about, okay, here are some reasons why she is the way she is because of this relationship she has with her father.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed. Anything else for the worst person in the world?
No.
I gave it a 4.
I gave it a 4.5.
I gave it a 3.5.
You like it half star less than I do.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't have an issue with it. There wasn't, nothing turned me off from it. It just wasn't like, whoa. I enjoyed my time with it.
I hear you.
And I will maybe see it win an Oscar in a couple weeks. Are
Next
they
up-
are they presenting that during the live show, or do I have to like wait till the commercial break?
I don't know.
I don't even know if Best Foreign Feature is going to be featured in the live show. It's ridiculous.
From what I understand, the categories that are not live are still going to be presented as if they're live.
So they're going to be filmed prior to the broadcast,
No.
and then edited into the show. So it may. I'll be curious to see how they do it. I doubt they're going to have like, you know, the nominees are, and then have the person walk down the. I'm sure there's going to be like earlier in the broadcast, so and so is awarded best editing, and then they'll show a clip of them giving their speech. That's my guess on what's going to happen. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but
my guess is they're going to come back from commercial and be like, for best documentary, boom, 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 no clips, just listing the names, not even listing, maybe not even listing who's nominated, just the movies that are nominated, announce, cut to them on stage giving their speech. That's it.
That's very similar to what I described.
Yeah. Well, you described like they come back and then it's like, and the winner is blah, 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 them on stage. I think they're going to at least mention the 5 films that are nominated.
Okay, maybe. Sure. We can nitpick over that one.
We'll see. They might not barely do any of that. They might not even show acceptance speeches. I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't.
Some of the best acceptance speeches are from those smaller categories.
Yeah.
Because there are people who don't win very often. They get a chance to be on stage, you know, especially if they're like the short documentary filmmakers. They're all kind of a little weird sometimes. So you get a little bit of like, you know, eccentricities into it. Like, I don't know. I don't need to see Frances McDormand win another Oscar and give another, oh, wow, here I am again.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. That's one of the reasons I watch the Oscars, is to see people you don't normally get to see get awarded. But evidently, we're not their audience.
Those people aren't the audience. Oh, this is a tangent.
For sure. All right. Third and final movie we're going to talk about this week is the remake. Is it a remake or just a re-adaptation?
I would say this is a re-adaptation of the play that is highly inspired by the movie.
Yeah.
And of course, we're talking about West Side Story, which we're going to discuss right after this clip.
What's forever? Like, I want to be with you forever.
You don't want to start maybe with, I'd like to take you out to coffee?
No. Come on.
I want to take you to a shop full of nuts for a cream cheese sandwich on a raisin bread.
This ain't casual like that.
Oh. I want to be with you forever. Quiero estar contigo para siempre.
Quiero estar
contigo, with you, para siempre.
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 That was West Side Story, a 2021 American musical romantic drama directed by Steven Spielberg. Ever heard of him? Starring Ansel Elgort, Ariana DeBose, David Alvarez, Mike Faust, Rita Moreno, and Rachel Ziegler. The official IMDb plot synopsis for West Side Story is an adaptation of the 1957 musical. West Side Story explores forbidden love and the rivalry between the Jets and the Sharks, 2 teenage street gangs of different ethnic backgrounds. It's definitely the setup with none of the plot. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Kyle, give us a basis for West Side Story.
All right. Well, so West Side Story is heavily influenced by Romeo and Juliet. You can even call this a Shakespeare adaptation. You have, like you said, it takes place in the 50s in New York City. At the time, there's a rivalry between the white residents. They call themselves the Jets. And then there's the new influx of Puerto Rican residents, and they kind of call themselves the Sharks. Those are the gangs they break up into. and they do not mix, they do not mingle. They're fighting over turf war, and two members from each associated with each gang meet each other one night and fall in love. Tony, who is associated with the Jets, and Maria, associated with the Sharks. This is a forbidden love because of the rivalry between the two gangs, and they just want to live life together, and the gangs just want to rumble and fight and own the turf.
And lots of singing happens
Well, yes, and it's a musical, so they got to dance it out.
for sure. Definitely. What'd you guys think of West Side Story?
James, I think you should go first now. We've
All
all
right.
had a chance.
I like this one as well. I mean, I like the original West Side Story. I think I grew up with the original West Side Story, and that's why I can watch it now. I think if the first time I watched West Side Story was when I was 22, I probably would not have fond memories of it. It'd probably just be another musical to me that wasn't my favorite. But since I grew up with West Side Story, like not constantly playing around me, but often playing around me, I have a fondness for it on some level. And I like this adaptation. I think if you're going to make a modern version of something that is such a classic, then upgrade it in ways that make sense. And I think that's what Steven Spielberg has done here. Like, I don't feel like he lost the essence of what people might like in the original West Side Story. He hasn't really changed the story much or the musical numbers. I mean, there's like some new dance choreography, but it's all reminiscent of the original dance choreography. And the visuals mostly are reminiscent of the original, but obviously in HD and color, perfect color. In fact, this is like, I imagine what they thought Technicolor looked like at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I
This
mean?
is
Like with
great.
popping color. Like it's a perfect image with colors just boosted as far as you'd want it to go without being cartoony. And so it kind of has that look to it, and the sets are better, and there's just like the presentation in general obviously has a lot more resources and a lot more technology behind it than when they were able to do the original. So as far as a remake or a reimagining, readapting, I think it worked well. And yeah, I enjoyed it in general. There are certain things that I don't really remember about the original that feel very silly to me, but we can get into that.
Yeah, let's look into
later.
it a little bit.
Yep. What'd you think of it, Zach?
I liked it. I'm not obsessed with it, but it was a fine watch. I enjoyed myself watching it. I do like the original as well, although I'm not obsessed with that one either. Steven Spielberg knows how to make a film. So even if you don't exactly, you're not vibing with everything, it's still very competently done and shot. And he absolutely knows how to cut something together, And there's some great like choreographed sequences with where the camera and the dancing are like very much in sync with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it makes for like easy watching, I would say. One thing that I really wish Steven Spielberg would stop collaborating with whatever cinematographer he's been with for the last 2 decades. I think, James, maybe you liked it this time, but to me, he does something where he's like trying to make CG and real shot subjects blend together seamlessly. And so he almost makes both look like they're made of ceramic or porcelain. I don't know. There's just this look where everything is lit absolutely perfectly that just feels so artificial to me. And the first time I noticed it was in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And ever since then, I just can't help but notice it. And his films used to feel so cinematic in a real gritty kind of natural way, and now it just feels unnatural to me, even though obviously it looks perfect. It's hard for me to describe, but maybe you can get at what I'm trying to say. I just wish he would just just go back to film and be a little less perfect, you know?
Yeah, maybe that's the difference because I'm looking at his cinematographer, right? Janusz Kaminski. I mean, Janusz Kaminski did Amistad, Saving Private Ryan, AI, Minority Report, Catch Me If You Can, Munich, War of the Worlds. All movies that you wouldn't say that have that look.
Right.
But then he continues into Spielberg's later career, which are the ones that you don't like. So I wonder if right around that, if it's the difference between Janusz Kaminski shooting film versus shooting digital.
Yeah, and be able to utilize CG backgrounds much
Yeah.
more in the into the 21st century.
That could be.
Yeah. So Zach, but I will agree with what you have to say about the cinematography. Is like this movie is definitely all shot on sets, and even though there'll be rows of city blocks behind them, like it was pretty clear you could tell that those were CGI cityscapes behind them. Like it never felt like they went into a city block and filmed these sequences. Where even like in the Heights had more of that. I feel like I'm actually in a city. Where this one felt like I'm watching a soundstage with CG City behind it. So I will completely agree with you on that point. This movie had a big hurdle to jump because West Side Story is my favorite musical. It's a top 100 movie for me. I've seen the musical multiple times, in person. I've watched the movie a ton of times. I've listened to the soundtrack a bunch. I've listened to the punk cover soundtrack from the 90s a bunch. So I'm very familiar with everything there is about West Side Story. Huge appreciation for Leonard Bernstein and the music that he was composing for this. So going into this version of West Side Story, I wanted to see, can Steven Spielberg prove to me that not that this movie needs to be remade, but can he bring something new to it and justify its existence? And he did for me. He jumped that hurdle, which he made it work for me, which I think is awesome.
What was the new thing?
Well, I mean, so there's a couple things. The biggest thing is he did bring in his cinematic look into the movie. If you watch the original 1961 version, it's very much filmed like a stage adaptation where the camera's kind of there and everyone's sort of at eye level, and you're not getting a ton of cinematography with what's happening on screen, and that's fine. Like it was a different style of filmmaking and a different era. That's totally fine. So Spielberg was able to bring in some crane shots. He had those amazing choreographed dances, both like in the gym and the streets with the bright costuming. I thought that was great. How they color coded the jets versus the sharks was really interesting. Sort of, you could easily tell who was part of what gang based on what clothes they were wearing, what colors they were wearing. I thought that was visually stunning. He added more character and setting backstory. So like there's a lot more about Tony and why he was gone for a while he's back. There's more about just why the neighborhood's being torn down in the first place. I don't think the movie ever mentions why everyone's fighting over turf. They just want to fight over turf. And in this case, they're losing their turf to what in this case the Lincoln Center. So what little land they have left is being taken away. So they're fighting for scraps. I thought that was very interesting take on it. I liked that they excuse me, brought in Rita Moreno as kind of the Doc character, and we're able to work her into the story, and obviously as a callback and to give her a chance to be in the story again. Some of the songs, they kept the songs the same, but they recontextualized them. So like the song "Cool" in the play is the song that they perform before the Rumble, as they're trying to not get too jazzed up. In the movie, it's the song, the 1961 movie, it's the song they perform after the Rumble when they're trying to not, lose it after the consequences of the Rumble. And then this one, they change it again where it takes place before the Rumble, but now it's Tony trying to talk. Oh my goodness. Who's the leader of the Jets? I should know this. This is embarrassing.
Bernardo?
No, that's the Sharks. Riff.
Oh,
Riff, right?
Yes.
Yeah. In this case, they're using "Cool" as a way for Tony to try and talk Riff out of going to the Rumble in the first place. Or the song "Somewhere," they have Anita sing, or not Anita. Rita Moreno. Rita Moreno, the Valentina. That was her character name. She played Anita in the 61 version. They have Valentina sing "Somewhere," and this one.
That's somebody from the original version.
Oh yeah. That was Anita from the original. who they then brought in, and instead of having the Doc character, she's playing Doc's wife, and she takes over that role. Yeah. So like her singing somewhere about her own, relationship, I thought was a cool sort of change of those songs. And then the actual Anita character herself, played by a name Ariana DeBose, I
Rachel
think.
Zegler?
No, no, no.
Oh, Anita.
Anita.
Ariana DeBose.
Yeah. She was great. I mean, Anita is always the best character of West Side Story, so it's hard to mess that character up, and they've got a great actress to play that role. So I liked a lot of the things they changed. There were two complaints I had. One was the Officer Krupke song.
Mhm.
It's supposed to be kind of like the fun song of the whole thing. It's like the make 'em laugh from Singing in the Rain. It's it's up tempo. It's kind of silly. And in this one, they first like started it kind of slow. They did the whole like we're gonna work our way into it instead of jumping right into it. And then once they got into all the different parts where they're having the judge and the psychiatrist and all the characters they're playing, they didn't really ham it up. Like at least in the musical and in the 61 version, everyone's really kind of hamming it for the camera for this fun piece. And in this one, I thought everyone's playing a little bit too staid. They're doing it more like movie style. And I kind of miss the corniness of the original in that presentation. And then this is kind of a double-edged sword because they added more character backstory, more setting backstory. This movie did feel a little long, and it did drag a little bit for me towards the end. And this is a story where it's supposed to pick up momentum in that second half after the consequences of the Rumble, and everyone's running around trying to figure out what's going on. And I felt that didn't really keep the momentum that it had in the first half.
I think it's been long enough that I hadn't seen West Side Story from beginning to end in one sitting that it didn't feel long to me.
That's good. Okay.
I mean, there were like certain points where I vaguely remembered the details of what happened. And so I'm not saying it was new to me, but I was just like, oh, yeah, I forgot that's going to happen. So it's kind of new to me because I just was not expecting it. I wasn't waiting for the plot beats that are already in my brain to play out.
Yeah,
you
were like
keep them in my brain. So,
where I was like, how is he going to do this? How is he going to do that? Just
right. Yeah. I'm wondering if you were to rewatch it a year or two from now, again, knowing what it is and what it isn't, if you would watch it in a different headspace than trying to figure out what's different about it, type of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie I would watch again.
Mhm.
Like it's not that I don't think it. It's not that I like the 61 version. It's still going to be a top 100 for me, but this is a movie I could easily see myself watching it and enjoying.
Mhm. Yeah. From like from a plot perspective, we can talk plot. In this
Yeah,
movie, right?
it's Romeo and Juliet.
around
It's
for
pretty well
forever.
known. Yeah.
So, the I'm sure this happens in the original, and since it's all just a little more heightened and goofy
Okay.
in the original, it didn't bother me. And it doesn't necessarily bother me in this one either. I just noted that, like, man, Anita turns around pretty fast in this movie. I mean, on a guy who killed her brother. Like I just can't imagine a world where you'd be okay with that guy continuing to live for very long.
I mean, this is also a movie where teenagers meet one night and then get fake married the next night. Like
Sure.
it's a musical, so they kind of compress all the emotion into a very short amount of time.
For sure. I guess I just didn't feel that until that moment. And then I was like,
Okay,
wow,
yeah.
that was really fast. Like within 30 seconds, she goes from wanting to kill the guy to, okay, you love him. I accept it. And then there's like one line at the end of that song that's like, just keep him away from me.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But I was just like, that's fast turnaround for a movie.
And that's in the musical too. I mean, that order of events where, she's like, I'm done with Tony, and then Maria convinces her through song that, oh no, I love him, and then she goes to Docs to one thing and then turns again. That all happens within the musical
and
too. So
not
that's
only
a
that,
huge
but like
change.
Maria also, like her brother was just murdered by her
Right, it's her
boyfriend.
brother. Yeah, like it's not like some guy in her neighborhood. It was her brother was murdered by her
Yeah,
new
both of
boyfriend.
them. I mean, this Tony guy's got some real magic fairy dust going on him or something. 'Cause these women are like turning. He's basically done the worst thing he can possibly do, and they forgive him in record time.
Yeah.
I would say.
No, I think that's a very fair criticism of the musical, the movie as a whole. Right? Yeah.
Sure. Like I said, in the original, it probably plays out the same way. I just never noted it in the same way as I did in this. I really liked the scene on the wharf where they're fighting with knives for the first time.
Oh, the cool scene. Yeah.
Yeah, the cool scene.
Yeah.
Like the setting of that and the camera work, like going under the pier
Mhm.
or whatever they're on. That kind of stuff. I just thought was really cool and looked nothing like what you would have seen in the original as far as the presentation goes.
I really liked the America song where they ended up on the street and they're all doing like just a big dance. You know, that felt like a big, nice, big Broadway number that they brought to life.
Yeah.
I know this is like the central like plot of the original film and play.
Okay.
But was the original musical were they as racist as they are in this one?
I mean, without being racist, would you give an example?
Like the
just
white
like the
people
way
just
that
hate the Puerto Ricans.
Yeah, the way the white people would talk about the Puerto Ricans.
Oh yeah,
they were
yeah
super racist. I just don't remember if the original was like that or not.
The dialogue was not that different. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole gist of the first movie too. Is like this is our neighborhood and they're intruding.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I remember in the original though, isn't Maria played by a white woman or something like that?
Natalie Wood. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
she does not sing. Natalie Wood does not sing her parts in the original either.
really? So they literally just hired a pretty face.
Pretty much, and she does an accent in the original. The only Latino actor in the original who's a named character is Rita Moreno, who plays Anita. Like Bernardo is being played by a white guy in brown face, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Maria is doing an accent. Yeah.
So that kind of stuff was made right in this version.
Yeah, by casting people who are actually Hispanic to play.
Right.
They didn't even like translate the Spanish.
I thought that was actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, right. There'd be Spanish conversations, and it's just in Spanish, and either you know what they're saying or you don't. And yeah, I thought that was great.
I didn't really even know what they were saying, and the way they presented it, and the amount there was, and what else was going on in the scene, got across to me.
Yeah,
what they were saying, even if I didn't know what every word was.
Yeah, no, I thought it worked just fine.
Yeah, it was good. Anything else on West Side Story? Is it a Spielberg movie you're going to remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say this is mid-tier Spielberg.
Yeah.
I think it's like really good as a movie, but as a Spielberg movie, there's not a chance I'm going to remember that he remade West Side Story over 10 other things that he's made.
I
mean?
I disagree. I thought the camera work and the cinematography was very Spielbergian. Like I could tell I was watching a Spielberg movie.
Yeah.
I think that's all true, and I don't disagree. That's all very Spielberg. But if you ask me to list 10 Spielberg movies, I can think of 10 more before this one's going to hit my mind.
Well, Kyle said it was mid-tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
so he would.
I guess mid-tier. He's made 34, I think.
Something like that. Yeah, I've seen like 28 of them. So
yeah,
there are 13 better than this and 13 worse, and that's okay.
You only have 4 Spielberg movies to watch, and you haven't just finished it.
I mean, you guys have talked so highly of Always. I just
we discouraged you from your last 4.
Well, let me tell you what I have left for Spielberg.
Wait, before you do that,
okay,
Zach,
I can.
Let's consensus guess. 1984. Right?
He hasn't seen. Yeah. Wait, which one do you say?
Not 1984.
1942.
1942.
Is that
Okay.
it?
I think so.
He hasn't seen Sugarland Express.
Right. He hasn't seen Always.
Always.
What's the fourth?
No, it's more than 4. It's here. I
okay.
can tell you. 1,
I don't think he's seen Duel.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna say 7 and a third.
Man, you're making this harder on us. Okay, he hasn't seen The
Are
Adventures
we right
of
about all of
Tintin.
them so far?
Okay, so you've said Duel, correct?
Duel.
Always correct.
Sugarland Express.
Sugarland Express, correct. 1941, correct.
Okay,
I need
so we have 3
and
more,
a third.
3.5 more. Let's go
Yeah.
for the 3 first.
Okay.
Tintin?
Seen Tintin.
No. I'm conversing with Zach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was not. I was
That was
not
not
gonna
our
approve
guess.
that guess.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
I was not going to approve that guess because movies like, let's see, what about The Color Purple, James?
Well, we like that movie, so it wasn't us
Yeah.
that's keeping him from seeing The Color Purple. But
Oh no, I don't think we've kept him from any of these films.
all right.
I don't think he's seen the BFG. I don't think he's seen The Color Purple.
Okay, I say
And-
BFG. We agree. So let's make that an official selection. You have not
Okay.
seen the BFG, Kyle.
I have not seen the Spielberg BFG.
Okay, so 1.5 more, and we'll
2.5
this
more.
correct. 2.5.
Yeah.
Oh, right, 2. Okay, so you say Color Purple. I think that's possible. I also think, what's the other one? With the slaves.
Amistad? I think he's seen
Amistad.
Amistad.
You think he's seen Amistad?
I do.
I mean, how about The Terminal?
I don't know. I bet he's seen The Terminal. It's hard to say. Ready Player One, I doubt he saw.
Twilight Zone the movie.
No, he saw Ready Player One. I think he does. I don't know. He could go either way. It's got the Shining thing in it, but I think he hasn't seen it, despite the fact that it has the Shining thing in it. I'm gonna say he hasn't seen Ready Player One.
I think I agree to disagree. I think he hasn't seen E.T.
What?
Sorry, Twilight Zone. I was looking at E.T. I was looking at Twilight Zone. E.T. right above it. Twilight Zone and what was the other one I just said? Oh,
E.T.
Color Purple. I think those are the 2.
All right, Kyle, we're on record enough for these. Which ones have you not seen?
Okay, I've not seen Twilight Zone.
Okay, nice.
I have seen The Color Purple
Mm.
because I went to public school.
Did
I
we
didn't
watch that
see
in
that in
school?
public school.
I definitely watched it in 9th or 10th grade. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't tell you much about it besides Oprah, but I've seen The Color Purple.
What about Whoopi?
Yeah, see, again, Oprah. That's all I can tell you. I have not seen Ready Player One because I found the book insufferable. Couldn't finish that book.
Oh, so you didn't finish the book?
I read a quarter of the book and I got the gist. Didn't need another 75% of it. I kind of knew where this is going. So
Gotcha.
I will tell you that Twilight Zone is just an interesting watch. I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to be blown away by it, but there will be a lot of There's 4 or 5 directors, and they're all. I think 3 out of 4 of them are like well-known people.
Okay, yeah.
Like the director of Mad Max Fury Road has a segment in
George Miller.
E.T. Yeah, not E.T. Twilight Zone.
James.
And the one
Ready Player One, you could definitely watch. It won't be your favorite movie, but it's a movie that was made in 2018 that has a giant budget to it. So it's like somewhat entertaining just because it's filled with action, basically.
Kyle, don't watch it, but do watch the Shining scene from it.
Yeah.
Okay, watch.
I
Okay,
think
so
he'll hate the Shining scene from it if he watches it in isolation.
because I did hate the Shining scene from Doctor Sleep.
It's not
Sure.
anything like that
Okay.
for sure.
Okay.
But I think the Shining scene works in context of the movie. I'm not sure it would work not in context of the movie.
Don't
Zach's
bother with the movie.
shaking his
Don't
head.
bother with the movie. All right.
What's the last one?
There's one more that did not come in conversation from either of you.
Okay.
The Post.
Oh,
You've
okay.
only seen. Wait, is that the one you've seen half of?
No, I've never seen The Post.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no,
What's
the Twilight Zone. That's the 3 1/3 because he directed, I don't know, a third of that.
Oh, you've seen the Spielberg section of
It was a clue.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The post is fine.
Yeah, I mean, like Duel, I'm interested in.
Duel's good.
But I want to say of those 7 and a third, Duel is the only one I'm interested in. Like the rest, if I never saw Sugarland Express, I'd be fine with that.
Sugarland Express is good though.
Okay. So maybe, but like I feel no need to run out and see the BFG or the Post or Ready Player One or Always or 1941.
Always is so good.
I know you like Always.
Didn't you like Quantum Leap?
Yeah, I mean I watched Quantum Leap. It wasn't a show. I didn't watch a ton of like network TV as a kid. Like James, you were amazed I never saw Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That just wasn't the stuff that I was watching back then.
What were you watching? I can't imagine.
Disney Channel, PBS.
He was Kids Incorporated.
Oh yeah. My parents paid for Disney Channel. Like we had the special cable box just for Disney Channel.
It was like $30 a month or something.
I mean, however much it was in 1989 or whatever year it was.
I think it was like $30 a month.
Yeah.
Back in the day. And you got one channel. Isn't that crazy that they got away with that for as long as they did?
I did the 3-day previews every 4 months.
Yeah.
Like tuned in.
Absolutely, you could watch The Post. The Post is awesome. It's a great drama. It's about newspapers and writing stories and, kind of political intrigue. It's 100%. You could watch that movie and enjoy it. The others you should just watch just to know what Spielberg is capable of in all directions.
Yeah, I mean, part of me is like I can complete this guy's filmography.
Absolutely.
Who's one of the most,
is the most popular filmmaker of all
most
time.
popular, but also has just made a ton of movies too.
Yeah, I mean, it took him a while, but he actually got to his musical.
Yeah. And I liked it.
Yeah. Now I just need an original musical from him. Has Spielberg ever made an original film? I guess Jaws is original, right? No, that's
based on a book.
Is Sugarland Express based on a book? Is E.T. based on a book? E.T. is based on a book.
Is it?
I believe so, because there's
Indiana Jones was not based on a book.
I mean, Indiana Jones was inspired by
Sure.
things, but you're right, it wasn't based. I don't think E.T. is based on the book.
I think it is.
I'm trying to see if they give a screenplay.
No, it was the film's concept was based on imagery, an imaginary friend that Spielberg had after his parents' divorce.
Yeah, so I would say E.T. was.
So it was original.
Yeah, that's original.
And
Indiana
he
Jones
developed
original
it from an unrealized project, Night Skies.
And what? I missed that part.
And it said he met Matheson and developed a new story from the unrealized project, Night Skies, where he combined the two elements.
So it was based on something loosely.
Yeah.
What about
Close Encounters? What about The Adventures of Tintin? Is that based on anything?
Oh yeah, that's based on the old comic book.
Obviously, Tintin.
Oh, okay, you're joking. Jeez.
Yeah.
I thought I was.
As far as I know, the Ready Player One and the BFG are not based on anything. And then I'm not sure about West Side Story.
The BFG is based on something.
Zach's being facetious.
Oh, okay.
Well, definitely War of the Worlds is not based on anything.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Zach.
And then Jurassic Park and Hook.
Legitimate question: is Schindler's List original or is that based on something?
It's based on a
Well,
list.
it's based on something.
Well, I mean,
Real
like
life.
it's based on like yes, but I'm saying like was there a book that called Schindler's List or the story of Oscar Schindler that the movie was adapted into, or was this more just like a story in history that a movie was made out of?
It's based on a 1982 nonfiction novel called Schindler's Ark.
Okay, so that's
So it was based on something.
Okay.
Yeah. They changed the arc to a list.
Give him less of an arc, more of a list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's letterbox West Side Story. I gave it a 3.5.
I gave it a 3.5.
Solid 4 stars.
Nice. 2
Nice.
3.5s, and a 4 for Steven Spielberg's version of West Side Story. Thank you.
So, Kyle, which one did you like better, Belfast or West Side Story?
West Side Story.
Okay.
But I was just enjoying the Belfast experience.
Nice.
I would say West Side Story started off as a 4.5 for me. And I think what brought it down was the runtime. Just it dragged in that second half.
If you had to rank these 3, what would you rank them? I would go Belfast number 1, Worst Person in the World number 2, West Side Story number 3. There's not huge gaps between those.
Mhm.
That's how I would do it.
I would go The Worst Person in the World number 1, West Side Story number 2, and Belfast number 3.
And I'm going to go West Side Story number 1, Belfast number 2, and Worst Person in the World number 3. That's 3 unique right there.
We did not match.
Not at all.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to this episode 521. We appreciate your listenership. Don't forget, you can always send us an email to heyguys@cinereelists.com, REEL with an S on the end. You could find us on YouTube and watch the podcast while you listen to it. You could support us on Patreon or leave us an Apple Podcast review. We'd appreciate any of that kind of support you can give us. You could also follow us on social media at Cinereelists on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Or you could follow me on my personal Twitter or Letterboxd account at YoJRB.
You can follow me on Twitter or Letterboxd as Shaban.
You can find me on Letterboxd at Peter SKB.
Next week, we will be discussing the Pixar animated film that's on Disney Plus right now, titled Turning Red. And it will be a rare Kyle-less episode. So if you're a real Kyle hater, tune in next week.
I can't wait to listen next week.
All right. Great. I'm going to load up some sound clips so it'll sound like you're actually here and reviewing the movie along with us. It's going to be great.
You're just going to do a bunch of just sound bites of me.
Right.
I didn't vibe. I wasn't enthralled.
Are those things you said? I haven't pulled those.
I feel like those. I don't know. I'd be curious to go back and take a list of all the different adjectives and adverbs I use and
sure.
see if there's
see if you could cobble together a review.
Right. Yeah. Could you just AI me into this show and no one know the difference?
There is a podcast editing service where you can upload hours of a single voice and then you can type things and it'll just make the person say it. Basically.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's pretty expensive though. It's like $90 a month.
Okay, I feel like we need to try that for 1 month, and we just one of us doesn't show up to the episode, and we type in that person, and people need to guess which episode did Zach not come to?
Were they not actually there?
Yeah, or we do it for all 3 of us, and everyone's got to figure out which one we were not in.
Yeah, guaranteed that would not be difficult at all.
Probably.
Sounds like a lot of work too.
Yeah, it does. I know. It sounds like it'd be fun too, and if it only costs us $90 for 1 month, it could be worth it.
James, send me that website. I want to look at it.
All right. It's I thought I could pull it out of my brain.
Send it.
But I can't. I was thinking it was called Despair, but it's not called that, but it's something like that. What a weird name for a podcast editing website. Thanks for listening again, guys. We will see you guys next time. Until then, keep it cinereal.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.